Go ahead and go big. Go down to pause recording. Pause. Just pause. All right, so welcome to the Friday Night Live podcast. We have some very special guests here with us tonight. Current head football coach and Ontario Christian alumni, Matt Hoekstra, and his lovely wife, Robyn. We're so glad to have you guys on. Thank you for taking the time to come on our little podcast here and talk all things Friday Night Live, football and relationships and all that good stuff. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Here.
Yeah. You want to start? Give me the first question. Okay. So first thing out of the gate, we just want to ask you real quick, your story, your personal story. How did you guys meet? How did you guys connect? Dating, as personal as you want to or don't want to get on this. But just tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today.
Sure.
Probably safest to let you start.
Okay. Good call. Matt and I met at Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa, and we just became really close friends first. I was dating another guy at the time, and Matt kind of ironically became a little bit of an advisor for me in that relationship, and then we just became really close friends. I loved going to all his football games and stuff. We started dating, I think it was our sophomore year, right? Yeah.
2002, 2003.
Yeah. So I really was the pursuer in the relationship, and here's this guy from California. So I would offer to bring him to the airport, and I think I did his laundry. That makes me sound so pathetic. At my house. The college was
So Matt already knew this one's a keeper right here.
Oh gosh, yeah. But so we just, we got married right out of college.
Young.
We were very young. We were babies in 2005.
Thought we knew it all.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, we did.
You guys graduated together, same class.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Born in the same hospital, actually.
Yeah, we were both born in Iowa. Same doctor, 6 months apart-ish. And then when Matt was two, his family moved to California. So we were raised completely separate sides of the country, and then met there. And so after we graduated, we got married. We really had no idea what we were going to be doing. Matt applied to several PT schools, and he ended up getting to Western University of Health Sciences in Pomona. So that brought us out here for his graduate degree in physical therapy. And that's how we met. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I would say what I would have said, I was probably the hard-headed one. You started becoming best friends, and I thought I knew everything. I didn't need to marry a best friend. And then at one point, you kind of realize that it doesn't get any better. And so it's been awesome. We're going in June, 15 years, and can't imagine doing life without your best friend. So
right.
So why related to football wise, my junior and senior year, I had a couple of girlfriends, and we together went to every single football game. We road tripped, I think 7 hours one weekend to get someplace in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. But that was the highlight of my college experience, was just, I think I knew early on in our relationship, I have a choice here. This guy is into football. I grew up with 3 sisters and not a ton of sports in my home. I was in choir. I will never cease to get a hard time. He married a choir girl. So I just remember knowing early on, I can either embrace this and learn the game of football and kind of fall in love with it, so to speak, with him, or choose to have that be a separate part of our lives. And so that was just a highlight of college for me, was going to all the football games. And he had a roommate whose parents road tripped from Chicago to all of the games. We're talking 12-hour road trip. It just became this neat little family that I experienced all the games with, and that was so fun, kind of being able to support Matt too in that realm. And then I guess
and it kind of blossomed into, at the
blossomed
time we
my
probably
love
didn't
for
know
football, yeah.
that we were going to coach football, and then now here it's something we do together.
Yeah.
So
I remember figuring out what a first down was. I literally remember I totally know everything about football.
Love it.
But so that was fun. So we have 3 kids. Do you want us to talk about our kids?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. A family too. So then we were married for 5 years before we had our first daughter, Emma. She's 9 years old. And we have 5.5. He's going to be 6 next week. Our son, Caleb, is 6. And we have a 3-year-old as well, Brielle. And we're expecting our 4th baby now. So
yay! Congratulations.
Yeah,
wow,
we
really
all
excited.
love football. Our kids, it's just a part of the journey for our family.
yeah, I think one of the, 2 weeks ago we were talking with Emma, and I forget exactly how she put it, but she was praying, Lord, please make coronavirus go away, because we want to have this football season. And
I love
Basically,
that.
this would be the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to me in my life if there's no football season. You can't do it without it being a really collective.
Absolutely.
She gets an extra couple presents for that on her birthday.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, sweetheart. Good. Well, wonderful. Well, and Matt, and we're going to get into Matt's your kind of your football timeline here, Matt. But we certainly have a lot more in common than people would probably think. We're both graduates of Ontario Christian.
Yeah, go Knights.
I go Knights. We both have experienced the Northwestern College Red Raider football program.
Yeah.
Got to admit, I couldn't hang with the Midwest, so I did 1 year, then came back and finished up at APU. But very familiar with the town and the city and just the culture, and absolutely loved it. So I'll be interested to hear your story when you get to Northwestern too. And then when we both came back to our alma mater and coached there and was a part of the Ontario Christian football history. So with no further ado, Matt, tell us your football story. Started at Ontario Christian. You're playing.
Right.
And
I grew up on Ontario Christian's campus, probably a little bit after you were playing, but I was running around. I was a ball boy and coach's kid, and then played high school football there for 4 years. We were in the Olympic League then, I think 98 to 2001, and went off to play. Well, I played for Tim Van Riggenmorter. He's a great coach now in Sioux Center, Iowa.
Yes.
But then went off to college, Northwestern. Orvatten
was Northwestern. Did you know Northwestern was the place? Or what was your senior year at OC, and then you're ready to go, and was Northwestern like, I'm going there for sure, or did you think?
Well, kind of odd. I got recruited a little bit by a school in Chicago, Wheaton.
Yes.
And then APU a little bit, but at the time APU didn't offer freshman scholarships, or at least they weren't going to offer me one. Who knows which one it was, but and Northwestern, and I loved Wheaton. And the decider for the offensive lineman was that they had 2 great cafeterias. And so
He literally has not
spoken like a true lineman. Yes, I love it.
15 years.
I did, the bread pudding. It was awesome now. So I their coach called me all the time, and they had a dynamic football coach. I think he retired this year. I can't remember. His name isn't coming to me right now, but just a phenomenal man. Talked to him and the recruiter, and I wanted to go to Wheaton, and but it was a D3 school, and the finances was different. And at the time, I thought, I'm going to be a physical therapist. I'm going to go to grad school. I can't afford to pay, that much to go to school. And Northwestern came in with much better financial aid and some football money on top of that. So, you pray about it. And for whatever reason, I wanted to go to Wheaton, but I could say no to Wheaton. And I couldn't say no Northwestern. And I don't have any other better way of explaining it than that. But so, I ended up at Northwestern, and my first year was rough, kind of like yours. It's cold. People all go home on the weekends, and the California kid is,
On the outside.
on the outside a little bit. And but God had me there for a purpose, or at least I was pretty sure that He didn't send me there just to fail, and so I stayed, and I developed relationships with some teammates, and with a wonderful woman that changed the rest of my life. And so that was and we had some good years. When I was a junior, we were number 3 in the nation at Northwestern, so we had some good teams. We never won. There was Sioux Falls at the time was in our division, so we didn't win a league championship while we were there. But had some great teams, great memories, and to be honest with you, out of college, I thought my football career was done. I didn't love I loved my teammates, but I can't say I loved the football side of football, like the type of criticism that maybe you were getting in practice or after games. Every game was graded, and I probably wasn't mentally tough enough to handle that coming out of college, or in college, I should say. And so I thought, man, football is over, and was pretty convicted. I want nothing to do with this game. And I went to PT school, and then a guy by the name of Mr. Hamming, Thomas Hamming.
Legend.
We call him Coach.
We call
he
him
still
Coach.
just goes by Coach at OC.
Something at OC
gives me a
has got to
call.
be named after that man. I don't know what.
Right?
Field,
We will
weight
fight
room,
for it to
Yeah.
death.
something,
Yeah.
right? I would say Tim Hoekstra, Tom Hamming, they need something named after those guys. That's for sure. 40 plus years.
We got to get the Stevens on there too. So, yeah. So he gives me a call. I think he was coaching for your dad, and freshman football. And I said, hey, I can't be there till 4:00. I'm in school. And he's like, no big deal. Just come when you can. And I was hooked. And so then, started coaching for, I think, I don't know if it was you or your dad that year. I'm trying to remember if you were the head coach or if you were working with your dad. You were both on staff.
Dad was there in his second year. He was 2002, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. He was the head guy. I took it in 05.
So,
I was there in 3 and 4.
It would have been.
Yeah, it would have been. I think it would have been 05. Would have been my first year, or 06.
No, that was when we got married. It was years.
Oh, never mind. 09.
9.
I'm way off on the timeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right.
'Cause I know you kind of. I'm not great on timelines, so don't be offended.
I'm not
by it.
either.
I know you came, went,
But Dad and I traded keys in that little decade. We were trading keys back and forth when we had our right. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to get confusing with the Stevenses in that decade.
Yeah.
But so I just started that. That was my first time coaching football, freshman football. I was helped out with the offensive line because that's what I had played, and I loved it. And I thought I knew everything, and I loved going to practice and loved being around the kids. And then I was a JV coach for 2 or 3 years, and then joined you on doing some JV coach for you as well as offensive line for the varsity team. And then you got the call to go to Monrovia, and this is the first time I ever considered being a head football coach, and
Really liked doing JV and freshman.
Yeah.
Really thought this is a great spot, right? Like you loved it at the time.
No, yeah. In my mind, probably up until 2 or 3 years before you left. I think when you look back on my story, what I'd say is that having Mr. Hamming, having a guy like you, a guy like Scott Hurst, really prior to being around you guys, never dreamed that head football coach was something that, 1, I wanted to do, and 2, that maybe even I could do, and that people do this for a job. And so that was really an awesome time in my life, because we started to dream and pray into it. And I think, what one time was just a hobby started to become a calling. And so then, you went to Monrovia, and I got to coach under Coach Martin for a year, got the opportunity to call an offense. And then the next year the job came open again, and the opportunity kind of came, and I became the head coach. And it's your dream job. You get to be the head coach at your alma mater. And and so we've been doing that for about 5 years. And
Awesome.
It's been, I can still remember, I took the job, and I can remember sitting at Carol's with you, and we were talking about, what are the things that, you want to do as, becoming a head coach at Ontario Christian, and part of being a head coach, because at this point, I've never been. And I still remember you saying that, number one thing is bringing your family on campus and making them a part of a program. And that has been one of the biggest blessings to my family, because like I told you earlier, my daughter says, I pray football starts. Football is demanding. It's demanding. You got a lot of time. I'm doing it on top of another job.
Yeah.
And you really would just fear that, and the competitor in you wants to win. So, that it could easily become an idol in your life, but you want your family to be doing it with you. And so that was great advice that you had given me, and that's been a great part of our journey. They come to practice. So,
Robyn, when it came time for Matt to possibly take this OC job, when it came up, what were your thoughts on this? Because, he was, like you said, he was kind of in his little niche of just, coaching freshmen and JV. And like you said, he was enjoying this. But when it came the opportunity to actually for him to be the head coach and take over the program, what were your feelings on that? And how did you navigate that? And how did you work through together on making the decision?
I think we both knew.
Our church was fasting. I think we did a 23-day fast, which we didn't, stay off food for 23 days, but we were doing like a prayer fast about a year and a half before that.
There was a 4-year period of time at OC where there was a different head coach every year, ending with Matt. Chris, you were one of those. So it was sometime during that period that we kind of figured out together as a couple that this is something Matt wanted to do. So I did know quite a while prior to going into his head coaching time, but there was a time when the job came up and he didn't get it, and that so there's these ups and downs. It's a bit of a roller coaster, but our church was in a time of fasting, and I think we were fasting from media or something, screens and that sort of thing. And I had actually gotten to the end of the fast. It was a 21-day fast, and I was kind of irritated because I was like, I wanted to come out of this with like a testimony of like, God, show me something, do something in our lives. Like, and I was sitting in the chair in our front room, and I was doing devotions. For some reason, I woke up early. I was irritated about that because at the time I think I had like a 3-year-old, and I was like, I should be sleeping right now. This is silly. Anyways, God brought me to this verse, and it's, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I realized that and I think I can safely say we had been seeking God with the parts of our heart that wanted what we wanted for this journey, make Matt head coach or whatever that goal and that dream was. And in that moment, God just gave me a word, and it was, I will work for good. And it was a really kind of, not at the risk of getting too strange, but it was a little bit of an out-of-body experience, and like sort of like a daydream. The Lord just really clearly spoke to me. Mm-hmm. And I think in that moment, I shared that with Matt right away when he woke up, and we just kind of were able to let go of the struggle and the roller coaster of those 4 years, or whatever, that just kind of came with some challenges, and we're really just able to like trust that God would take this journey where it was supposed to go. And if that meant Matt would be head coach at OC, that would be great. And if it meant he wouldn't, that would be good. And that God would work through that. And also felt very clearly that we might not see the fulfillment of that, for years and years to come. But so yeah, we were really, I had reached a point of really just being really excited by the time it came, and really just knowing that this is what Matt wanted and what we wanted. And I didn't have any idea what to expect, don't get me wrong, but I was excited to
So
start.
Matt,
That's good.
so once like Robyn shared this with you, how do you feel she helped you make that decision? Because I know she's sharing her heart, but when you both were going through this, and I'm sure you had some doubts and you were questioning, okay, God, is this what we really are we supposed to be doing this? Should I take the job? How did she kind of help you and encourage you through this?
Well, I think, going back to that time, part of what we were trying to discern in that fast was, Lord, is this something we should be pursuing? Like, are you really, I love coaching football, but is this really the call you have for my life? Or is it just something I want, and I think that word to her was a little bit of confirmation. Like, look, you don't know exactly what it's going to look like or what time it's going to happen. But yes, this was, it was really clear, like, yes, this was something that was worth chasing after, and that God was calling us to go after. And it wasn't just, something that, we were just pursuing because, I needed to be a football coach, or, that it was, I don't know a better word for that, but yeah. So I think I had to laugh. I fasted that 23 days or whatever it was too. God didn't, I didn't hear an audible voice or get a vision of what we were going to do, but God definitely relayed that message through her. And, Friday night, I know that you guys have been in Bible study together, Friday Night Wives, and even this podcast. I think the testimony is that, this is a unit, and it was just further testimony that, I couldn't do this by myself. I wasn't going to be able to do it by myself. In fact, God didn't even tell me that this is what we're going to do, that what we were going to be doing through just me. It came through my wife and my partner. So I think that was kind of how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you were already there and had kind of your heart of hearts knew, but that fasting time, that was the testimony, was that Robyn, God was orchestrating it to a place where you could be there and say, okay, God, this is exactly where we need to be, and this is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Matt, some of your role models or mentors kind of coming up as you were making that decision of coaching and gotten into coaching. You mentioned Coach Hamming, which I think he's got a tidal wave of weight behind him of men that he's mentored over his career. But outside of maybe Coach, who are some other influences on your life?
I like I said, I think I've had the opportunity to work for different coaches. I think you were the head coach in 2012. Prior to you was Lang, your father, and prior to, and after him was Scott Hurst. I think Scott Hurst was part of, he just firmly believed that football coaching was a full-time job, and that people deserved to be paid for that. And I never had the dream of, or even thought of football coaching that way, and so that was instrumental in chasing after this. Like, we've been chasing after the dream of a full-time on-campus football coaching position for 8 years, and I think believe that someday it will happen. Where, we don't know, but we do believe that someday it will happen. And but some of that believing that could be true, that started there. So he's been influential for that. He was influential for me there. And then, having a guy like you, I started out as a football coach thinking that every problem was solved with an X and with an O. And to be honest, even my first 2 years as a head coach, I think, it's laughable to think now, but I thought, oh, we got the X and O figured out. We're going to win games. And then we didn't win games.
And everything around you implodes, and
Yeah.
social things and parents and
Yes.
And I think so, yourself, I think you taught me a lot about what it meant to take your family along on the ride. And, I used to think, Rock Kazak Amatz was one of the phrases that you used. And I remember being a young coach and thinking, this is silly stuff. No offense to you, but that's, that's what I thought, but I was so wrong. And I learned that, and I learned some of that from you. And so, we still have the night creed. We stole that from you, and culture was just so important. And so I had a coach in my life that taught me that. And then, I've learned a lot from, I coach with my best friend, or one of my best friends, and he's probably a better coach than me. And I'll call him an assistant, but he challenges, in the Bible it talks about iron sharpens iron, and you don't get away with anything with him. And it's Coach Fuqua, but you don't get away with anything. And that's made me so much better, because it wasn't good enough just that it had worked before. It wasn't good enough that that it had worked with a different type of personnel. It had to be good enough for this personnel, this team, this time. And so he's been a huge influence on me, even from being my offensive coordinator, my defensive coordinator. I would say he's been influential. And then, I can remember calling Lang a couple of years ago, Lang Stevens, your dad, for some advice on how to deal with issues that were arising among staffs and things like that. So I think, God has just put me in a place where, the struggles that I was facing, I had encountered a coach along the way who I could call, and not only just call, but who would take the call and answer it and spend plenty of, as much time as I needed to find the answer. So.
Matt, I'm humbled and honored. I appreciate that. I wasn't a loaded question. I promise. I wasn't asking. I would be one of those guys. So to our audience, whoever's listening, that certainly wasn't the point. But I do thank you, and I appreciate that very much so. And just to pay it forward, I guess, in full disclosure, I stole a lot of those things from my dad. So they, obviously our dads were big role models. And so that was kind of leading the next question, let's talk about the relationship with your father as being my geometry teacher, your principal, and how did that dynamic affect, maybe, I don't want to get too personal here, but how did that affect your relationship? He's your dad, he's your boss, and just growing up in a math teacher's house and a football coach's house.
I would kind of preface it by saying, we do this thing, and it started with you, where we had this senior night where the dads would talk about their sons. And, really early on, I noticed that if we had a bunch of great fathers come up and talk about their sons, we had a great team, and so, my story about my dad is I've been really blessed. I have a great father, and I don't even begin to know the extent of the influence that has had just by growing up in it, but yeah, no, I have an incredible respect for my dad. He coaches JV for me now.
I love it.
And I'll be honest, I was a little nervous to invite him on the staff, because I thought, man, my dad's going to see how I really am out here. And he might not like every aspect of that.
The dark side, right?
But 40 years of experience in discipline, and 40 and in grace, and maybe in life experience about making some mistakes that maybe our kids have made. Having a guy like that in the room when you're talking to a kid, or when you're disciplining a kid, or when you're talking to a family, that's been an incredible value to me.
Someone once told me about Tim, and I think this is so true about him. They said he doesn't speak a lot, but that when he does, you better get close and listen, because he just is full of wisdom. And been really neat to watch you guys coach together.
Oh, that's true. And I know your dad just a little bit. Chris knows him a lot more, but I can say that is true. When he speaks, you better listen.
It's a Quiet Strength, the book by
very much, yeah, very level.
Tony Dungy wrote that book. But that's Tim. That's Tim Hoekstra. You know, he's a Quiet Strength and a great leader. And I was lucky to have him not only as a teacher, but also as a boss. You know, as well. So that's great. Go ahead, Jen.
What is one? I was just curious because Matt, you were just kind of saying that certain people kind of navigated and helped you in your coaching career, but Robyn, what do you think is one of the things that you've seen Matt grow in his coaching career? What is the one thing that you can say, wow, he is just getting better and better, and he's just amazing at this? Can you just share one thing that you...
I think early on in his career as a head coach, he just struggled with the failure. He really wanted to be excellent, and it's one of the things I respect most about my husband is he really pursues excellence. But I think that the biggest thing he's learned is that it's just a continual refinement, a continual process. And I would say probably about 2 years in is when he really took a step back and decided like that we need to invest in the culture and creating, just a really solid vision and philosophy for just really impacting the lives of these young men. And they're onto something really special in that department right now. And so I think that would be the biggest thing that I've seen him get better at dealing with the failure and seeing it more as a learning experience, a part of the process. Not accepting it necessarily, but understanding that it's what has made them better and brought them to the point where they're at today.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think that as coaches' wives, we're watching our husbands from the sidelines, and we're, it's amazing just to kind of see the growth and what they deal with. They deal with, coaches deal with so much more than just X's and O's. You're talking admin and parents and kids and the things that they go through. And so it is so important that it's the culture that, impacts those kids, because they may or may not, there are some kids, but most kids will remember what coaches instilled in them, not necessarily the amount of wins and losses that they did have. Now, some kids will remember, but it's what will resonate is what, you guys as coaches speak into them. So just kind of bragging on each other. But Matt, can you just share maybe one thing that you have just Robyn has kind of helped encourage you over the years growing into that man in your career of coaching?
Oh, ooh. I think I was definitely like one of the things that she's seen me grow in. I think I definitely was pushed in that direction. I think the first couple of years, my first 2 years, we went 6-4. My third year, we went 6-4 too. It was like a curse of 6-4, which isn't necessarily a curse, but we wanted to do better. And but the first 2 years, I was miserable for 3 weeks after the season because and I pride it that I don't think it's kids' fault that you lose. I think that it's our job to train them up. They're gonna give you effort, and but yeah, it was just not an easy process for me to deal with the failure that I was feeling, and to the point that maybe for some of that time I probably wasn't that fun to be around. And I can remember, I don't know if it was after year 2 or one of those years, kind of Robyn saying, well, you better learn to enjoy this or quit. And maybe not enjoy it wasn't exactly, but it was definitely a prodding, like, this can't be what this is all about, or this can't be the end product of all that effort is all this angst about, the result, or about the fact that you didn't do as well as you would have liked to do. And so I think one of the things I love about our relationship is that, I married a very strong woman, and she challenges me all along the way. And so, yeah, I see that. I see that in so many different aspects of my coaching career where I think things that maybe I come home and tell her about practice that I might think are acceptable, that she doesn't think are acceptable, and she'll make me better there. And so definitely been sharpened along the way by her. And I would say there's, when you're running a program, there's so many people that are heavily influential in a program, but at the end of the day, you have maybe a few people that are your confidants and how you make a decision. How do you make a decision about what to do next? And sometimes people are offended when I say that Robyn is 1B in terms of who gets to have final say in whether we're going to do something or not do something as a football program. And that's how much I value her input. But that's true. And so, she shapes everything we do, because a lot of it gets run by her. So
Love it.
That's great.
Love it. Now, again, this question is kind of for both of you, because Matt, you are an off-campus coach. You're an off-campus head coach, and there's a lot of challenges that coaches have on campus. You are off campus. So for both of you, I mean, the days are long and you're coming from one job to another. Just kind of speak on both sides of that. What are some of the extra challenges, Matt, that you face as a head coach that's being off campus? And then Robyn, maybe you can help out. What are some of those challenges too on your end?
Well, I think, philosophically, I've always believed, and I still believe, that the best way to impact young men is to be on that campus. And so you kind of have a struggle in that you're always a little unsatisfied that you're missing that opportunity to speak into a young man. And so I think the challenges of off-campus coaching is, I think first, it just starts with time. I have a 40-hour work week, and then I have a football work week, and then I have a family week where, where are we going to find the time to have a meaningful impact where, I'm speaking into my daughter, I'm speaking into my son. And so that, the time demands of that you can be stretched. And that's been a growing experience. I do a lot of my work after 9 o'clock, because I need to spend that time with my, family meals and time after practice, which usually ends at 7 or 6:30, that needs to be put back in. And so I can't come home and watch film, or, I got to do that later. But I think that's one of the struggles. I think as a coach, from a coaching standpoint, I remember the first couple of years that I coached, we would reach a point in the season where I think my players weren't 100% sure that when I was maybe disciplining them, that I was doing it from a place of love, and like I had reached the end of our rapport. And
you don't have opportunities outside of practice to really just be social and joke around, because you're rushing to get there.
Yep. I'd get there at 3:20, practice would start. And you're a field general from 3:20 to 6:20. It was like, you got to do this, go, 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 go. You're trying to keep everything moving. And so the opportunities where a kid could share with you what was going on in his life, if that didn't happen at Monday night devotional, it just didn't happen. And so that was a challenge. And out of that challenge, we learned a different way of doing it than we would do it if we were an on-campus coach. It was more important to take time out of practice for them to have those moments with position coaches or with you than it was to get the extra 10 minutes of individual time. And it was more like, we would start from summer camp with a time together, a retreat that was all relational, no football, for 3 days. And we did that because I think we would do it even if I wasn't on campus coach now, but that was born out of a need. We needed a better relationship to be able to sustain the pushing that you would have to do to be great. And so those have been some, I think from a campus standpoint, that's been hard. I think from an administration standpoint, a school makes all those decisions from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you're just not there for any of it. And that's a limiter because, being in the room and being able to influence is helpful. And when you're out of the room, you're kind of always left as the guy who gets to, you're kind of the peanut gallery because when it comes to you, it's after the fact, like,
right.
Hey, this is what we did. And then it's a yay or a nay. And then, then it's,
and you got to clean up the mess behind it.
Yeah. So I think, those are the challenges of being off campus. But we've learned a lot from it too. I got off the phone with a coach today and I was kind of saying that same thing. I was like, it isn't my favorite position to be in, but it definitely has forced a lot of growth.
Yeah. And you guys, I'm sure, have adapted well. You've been doing this for 5 years now. And so you've
not experts by any means yet, but
yeah.
gradually figuring things out.
Yeah. Good. So what do you guys like to do? What's something that just a little personal, little family thing now? We have our 3-week dead period, Matt. How do you spend that time, talking about connecting with your family and making it meaningful? What are some things that you guys like to do? What is your favorite during that dead period, your time away, your getaway? What do you guys like to do?
Well, Robyn really loves the last week of dead period to make playbooks with me.
I think you're the one who said it the other day. It's really
I'm sorry, not 3 weeks, 2 weeks, right? It's 2 weeks. Yeah, a week and a half, right?
Lord have mercy.
We like to go camping. We usually go camping during that time, which we can't do this summer, but that's what we've been kind of in a rhythm of doing. We learned with the young kids that it's not that fun to go stay in a hotel because you have to pretend you're sleeping at 8 o'clock so the kids fall asleep and then you're sleeping. And so camping has been our thing.
I think we try and dead period. You try and 1 week where you are away from even the Inland Empire. You try and get out somewhere where you definitely feel gone and bring some books and read, and sometimes you can do it with friends, and that's good too. And that's kind of our dead period routine.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good. Well, guys, we're coming to a close here.
Yeah.
We want to thank you again for just your time, your friendship, and just everything you guys are doing in the coaching world and making an impact on those boys, Matt and Robyn. You too, as like you guys said, and I agree, Matt. We can't be who we are without our wives behind us, and so. But just thank you guys, and Robyn, thank you for your friendship with Kareen and the Friday Night Wives, and
I'm so appreciative.
Me too.
I feel like you've just kind of guided me on this path as well. So
thank you. No, and likewise, I feel like both of us, we've grown a lot. I think in the last couple of years, just studying the Word together, praying for each other, and Chris and I have gone just through some hard things with this past football season, and you two really were there for us and just walking alongside us, encouraging us. So I really appreciate that. So thank you both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up with a little game. A little this or that game. It's one of those first thing that comes to mind, just shout out the answer. You may connect, you may not, but it's not so much the newlywed game as it's fun to see your answers.
Just give listeners just a chance just to get to know you just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kareen, we got about 13 of them.
Yeah.
And we'll go fast. But like I said, most of them are 2 answers. There'll be one that's about 3 or 4. And then I've got a special one for my Northwestern College.
All right.
We're answering for ourselves or for our spouse? Or
for yourselves.
For yourselves.
Just answer it. Okay.
Okay. You guys ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Kareen's going to take it.
First one. Chargers or Rams?
Chargers.
Okay. Go Bolts.
Yeah.
Okay. In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A?
In-N-Out.
Nice.
Okay. You kind of answered this already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Beach or lake?
Beach.
I'd probably say lake.
Oh.
I thought you both were going to say because camping. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so before quarantine life, date night in or date night out?
Out.
Out, yes. Okay, rain or shine?
Rain.
I kind of feel like us Californians lean towards that because we
Yeah.
very often. So when it does rain, it's like,
Time for granted.
ooh, we get to stay in and snuggle
Yeah.
and put our pajamas on all day. Yeah. Okay, savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Savory.
Yes.
Hulu or Netflix?
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
Netflix. What do you guys?
We have, like,
just
all
got
the
into
things right
Survivor,
now.
you know,
Yeah. We're binge watching Survivor with the whole
with our
family,
kids.
and it's on Hulu. So
Oh,
Nice.
really? Okay.
that's what caused me to pause.
What are you watching on Netflix? No.
Well, right now, not much.
I'm watching Heart of Dixie on Netflix. It's a chick flick.
Oh yeah, I liked watching that when that was on. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a multiple choice
This one
one.
has 4 answers here.
Pop, rock, country, or rap?
Country.
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. Yeah.
None of the above. No pets.
Early riser or sleeper inner?
Early riser. You would sleep in if you could. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got 3 kids, so no one sleeps in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Amen. Okay, sporty or a bookworm?
Bookworm. You're sporty.
Sporty.
You read a ton of books too.
Okay.
You're sporty. You're a football coach. Oh, duh.
Hey,
Messy or tidy?
messy.
Messy.
Messy. Yeah.
She has no choice. I'm that messy.
Well,
I think to accept it.
well, hey, you're pregnant, so you get doesn't matter. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm gonna take the last one here for our Orange City crowd. Taco John's or Hardee's?
Taco
Taco
John's.
John's. Potato Olays, man.
Bucket of Olays,
Expect the
potato Olays. Yep.
We go through, like, when we go home, Pizza Ranch, Taco John's, like, just go to all the places.
Matt, did you have the banquets in the basement of Pizza Ranch still when you were there?
No, they had them in
Okay.
like in the dining hall.
Nice. Our banquet was.
I do
in the
remember
basement.
the second or third day we got there, they told us about this. There's a pizza buffet on Tuesdays. College people only pay like $3.
Yes.
Offensive line ruined that buffet.
It's
You bet.
otherworldly, yeah.
Shut it
Not
down.
like anything we
Yep.
have out here.
Got it.
Did they? Another Northwest question. Do you have your red jacket with your name on it?
Let's not talk about the red jacket. Matt
I do
used to
have a red jacket
wear
with my name on it. Yes.
With
That
your
used to
number,
wear this
and on the
thing.
back it said Red Raider football or Northwestern football.
with like the red wind pants. There's like pants that go with it. So he used to wear this across campus with like he had like a bright orange ski sweatshirt from skiing here in Southern California.
You bet.
Orange and red. Yeah. That I'll
It
never
was
remember.
dramatic for Robyn.
I was not a fan.
You were just a walking sunset, man. That's all you were. Just for a little sunset right there.
Awesome.
Orange City, Iowa. So
Yeah.
this has been great.
Yes.
Positive energy.
Much.
Thank you. Thank you again for the time. It's great seeing you guys again. Amidst all the shutdown and
Thank you for having us.
it's nice to be able to connect with friends and see you guys. So Dan, thank you for your time.
Yes.
And
Congratulations again.
yes,
On
congrats
baby
again.
number 4. By the way, we're all born on Friday, right? That Friday life.
Yep.
And look up OC.
Wish us luck.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Are we good? Can you guys hear me?
We have an unstable internet connection.
Oh,
sorry.
I thought our
Okay,
call.
Say it again.
I thought our call got shut off. Okay. No, I was just gonna plug your Twitter handle for OC Night Football. So Check out the Ontario Christian Knights on Twitter at C_Knights_football. Right, Matt?
Yep, that's it. We're in
Awesome.
a battle with Corona Del Mar for helmet, the helmet contest in California. So
Oh yeah,
Go Knights.
California
Oh,
helmets.
For the
really?
Knights.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, I hope you win that, and we'll check back in. Hopefully, you guys will win that. You'll win that deal. We'll go vote. We're gonna go vote right now.
All right. Thank you so
Anyway,
much. Take care.
Yeah. See you guys. Have a good
Okay.
night.
You
Thank
too.
you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
Shoot, there was a delay, I thought.